my lovely Atlantis Scalar peeps. All right, what do we want to talk about this week? First of all, I tried to do a chat box, but it's just too much for me to handle. So, and it wasn't, that well received. I didn't really get very much chat activity on it. But I also want to let you know, of course, we're starting to submit blog articles on Atlantis Scalar that I really would like you to look at. Please be sure you subscribe to the newsletter, because I don't want you to miss, and people have missed, like sales and other important announcements. Also, I want you to, if you have any service for a condition, disease, syndrome, whatever disorder that you have not had much success with, I want you to look up in Google if you could possibly need the microbiome optimization. For example, hypertension, that's closely linked to gut dysbiosis, autism, cardiovascular disease, kidney disease, diabetes, problems losing weight, problems with feeling happy. There's just a huge list, and I have posted it on a newsletter, all this list, of partial list at least, of these diseases, so you can go back and look at that list if you wish, or you can just email me and ask me for the list of diseases, and I'll send it to you. Elisa@atlantiscalar.com. All right. Oh, something really weird happened yesterday when I was working in the scalar field. When I speak the intent, and I'm surprised I have not lost my voice, really, I'm starting to see this weird thing in the scalar field, like sacred geometry and weird symbols. And I think that is the conversion of my intent in the words into math, which is the universal language of the universe. So I'm trying to hold on to that vision as I do this. We'll see what effect that has, but I think it's kind of cool. Also, I am experimenting with a separate glaucoma service. I also tackle it in the regular eyesight optimization, but there's just so much behind glaucoma that I'm making it a different service eventually, I think, because you have to deal with the trabecular mesh network. I mean, there's so much that is involved, and glaucoma is actually not completely understood, although it is the leading cause of blindness. So stay tuned for that. Let me see if I can read off a partial list of what it deals with. Oh, yeah, maybe I'll do it next time. I don't know where some of the things are. Okay, it doesn't make a difference. Also, be sure you use the yes or no page if you want to ask, will this scalar service work on me or whoever? Okay, so basically that's all the announcements I have. I'll read you a bedtime story now. Oh yeah, here's the diseases. I'll say the diseases right now. Diabetes type 1, diabetes type 2, gestational diabetes, obesity, difficulty losing weight, metabolic syndrome, all autoimmune diseases. We think that autoimmune diseases is inherited not by familial DNA, but by the familial microbiome. That's fascinating. Fibromyalgia, multiple sclerosis, Lou Gehrig's disease, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis. When I say that, I sound so much smarter than I really am. And muscular dystrophy, irritable bowel syndrome, inflammatory bowel disease, cognitive and memory issues, anxiety, depression, reward and addiction issues, the ability to handle stress, so important in this world today, the ability to feel happy, Parkinson's disease, autism and autism spectrum disorder, Asperger's, etc., cardiovascular disease, including atherosclerosis, high blood pressure, cerebral vascular disease, liver disease like cirrhosis, hepatitis like non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, also known as NASH, chronic kidney disease, chronic pulmonary disease, including pulmonary fibrosis, asthma, bronchitis, etc., cancer, Alzheimer's, and other forms of dementia, acute, attention deficit, ADHD, schizophrenia, painful periods, dysmenorrhea, dysfunctional immune system, small intestine bacterial overgrowth, allergies, chronic HIV, eczema, long COVID, and several neurological diseases and disorders. Is there anything else? Jeez. And that's just a partial list. That's what they know now. But we are still, as a medical community and scientific community, learning a lot about the microbiome in the entire body. All right. All right. Then I visited my parents. It was this book. Awesome book. Papa came first. Oh, Papa. There he was, standing in front of the desk in the kitchen. As I stood by his side, I could see that it was closed down, zipped up. His face was flushed and his feet were tingling. He didn't want to believe it was real. It was like he was watching a horror movie unfolding in front of him. It was, the thing is, a lot of horror movies end up with the bad guy or the swamp monster or whatever getting killed and everyone that was in danger being saved. So the movie ends on a happy note. That wasn't the way it was that day, and Papa didn't understand why he couldn't rewrite the ending, sorry. His energy felt elastic, but I still couldn't get past his barriers to access it. It was like trying to get into a tent without unzipping the flap first. He was different because I've been able to merge my energy with everybody else's during my goodbyes. I had to wait until he was angry because he was, so that he could open up that tent. You have to get big when you're angry. Anger is actually a really vulnerable emotion that opens you up a little bit. Part of his anger was because he felt helpless and useless. Papa's used to controlling everything and protecting everyone he loves. Because he couldn't control whether his son would live or die, he sort of crumbled and became a little boy again. I always wanted to have a connection with Papa, but he didn't let me into his world as much as I wanted him to. After I died, I still had the human pain of not having the connection I wanted, but I didn't need his approval anymore. I didn't need his attention. Instead, I get his attention by loving him. It was an I forgive you love. It was an everything is okay between us love. I really couldn't give him that when I was alive. I always felt Papa wasn't open to that kind of thing anyway. He's Norwegian, so I guess it's a cultural thing too. Scandinavians don't usually get all emotional and gooey like people in some other countries do. Not that that's bad or anything, it's just how they are. I realize now that I realized two things then about Papa that I hadn't realized before. I used to think he was trying to teach me lessons to keep me in line, and that's what made the distance between us. But he just wanted to protect me, and the only way he knew how to do that was by talking at me instead of with me. He didn't know how to get involved. He thought I was supposed to know things or behave a certain way, even though nobody had taught me or showed me how. So when I didn't act or think the way he thought I should, he'd fuss at me. It was his way of trying to protect me from myself. Even though I first came to him when he was standing in the kitchen that day, it wasn't until the day after I died that I decided to say goodbye to Papa. I came to him in a dream. In the dream, he was standing by his kick-ass Ford F-450 Super Duty. I loved that fucking truck. I stood behind him and told him I was okay. He asked me why I had wanted to leave, and I leaned to the right into his energy and said, "This is how I felt before." Immersed in my energy, he was overcome by all the emotions I felt when I was alive, the despair, the confusion, the sadness, and the hopelessness. I had to pull away from him to get him out of that horrible black cloud. Then I leaned to the left, back into his energy, and said, "This is how I feel now." When I did that, he felt my happiness, my relief, and my sense of freedom. that was my way of telling him that I'm okay and that I'm actually better than okay. And Papa did relate that dream to me the next morning. From Papa, I learned why he didn't want me to do certain things with him, like riding motorcycles. When I was alive, I thought he just didn't want to be around me. Now I know that he was teaching me that you can't always do whatever the hell you want. Sometimes you have to have someone there to pull you back. Papa understood that in order to learn boundaries and safety, you have to do things at a slower pace. You can't just jump out of a plane without a parachute. Even though I wanted to have a shared hobby with him, like racing motorcycles, I couldn't jump on the bike and race around the track. With what little experience I had. It was a good thing too, because I'm clumsy and easily distracted, like my mom. Okay, that's it. And then he visits me. That's gonna be a hard one. All right. Thank you everybody for listening. I hope you have a wonderful week and a wonderful Thanksgiving. I love you all so much. Bye.